based off a design from the 1960s. First designed in the late 1960s by Pullman Standard. By the way, Pullman is a was, by the way. It was. This is how our country is just so far behind. Yeah, this is 1893, by the way. Country looked a heck of a lot better then, by the way. By far better. Everybody dressed better. The buildings looked better. Yeah, not all sunshine and rainbows, but I mean, shoot. Pullman is like a legendary company here in the United States. It's a legendary historic company, but yeah, we'll talk about the Pullman strike at some point because that's definitely something that needs an episode of its own. That is for sure been on the back burner for quite a bit in my mind. I do really want to talk about the Pullman strike because I think it just goes to show about the good and bad in this country and the stupidity of communists. I'll get into that later. But yeah, but the main thing about what's going on here and why I brought that up is because just recently, APTA, the American Public Transit Association, released their 2025 Public Transportation Vehicle Database. And what do we get from there? Well, there's a whole lot. You can get basically every single public transportation entity and authority within the United States, and a list of all their vehicles, number of vehicles, how many they're running, whether rail cars, whether they're buses, what kind of transit, and how long they've been in service. That's the main one I want to talk about. Now, if you notice over here, a lot of the highlights that they're showing is 87% of buses now feature security cameras. Now, remember what I talked about, that this is the first thing now in transportation infrastructure circles that everybody's been talking about? Whether you're in buses, whether you're in transit or trains or anything else, the main thing that everybody's been talking about now is safety. Because again, remember arenas of roots. Okay? Just think of that in your mind. Every single time you go into a bus or you go into a train, that is what Americans are thinking about right now. And they've been silently thinking about that for decades. For decades, at least since the 1960s. Okay? It kind of started there, and then it just started to get worse and worse. Very much into the 1970s. Okay? We're talking about the height of Death Wish and the height of just New York being an absolute disaster zone. Okay? But that's been the perception of public transportation in the United States, starting in the mid to late 1960s, and then just progressively getting worse from there. Yeah, a little bit better, but yeah, again, security cameras was the first highlight that they wanted to talk about. 87% of buses now feature security cameras. Expect to see more arenas of routes, guys. More than 3,000 buses are equipped with pedestrian and bicycle detection systems, because then again, you never know who's going to be driving these buses. But yeah, all the stuff that they're talking about, great. But let's talk about it again. This report comes with summary tables grouping vehicles by mode, manufacturer size, and year built. A section on the new vehicle market covering orders, planned orders, vehicle costs, information on several types of autonomous, automated, safety, equipment, emerging modes adopted by the National Trans, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, we can go into all of that, or we can actually read this stuff. Wait, now, where's my PDF? Disappeared. Oh dear. So much for that. There it is. Hold on. There we go. There it is. Haha. I accidentally closed it thinking it was my mail. See if it will actually open up now. Come on. All right. Well, while that's loading up, I'll go ahead and just talk about it. But let's talk about some things over here. So, just to put in perspective before we go into diving into this. Okay. When it comes to rail and infrastructure age and vehicle age and what time to cycle it out, generally for buses, it's about 12 years. Okay, you want about like 12 years until you start thinking, okay, it's time for a new bus. It's time to go ahead and start, getting a new bus. Or for trains, it's usually 20 to 25 years. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go ahead and go through this. Now that I finally have it open, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and scroll on down over here. Keep on scrolling. And again, you can see a lot from this report. And if you guys want to go ahead and see it, it's on American Public Transit Association's website. But yeah, we can go on to here and start seeing active vehicles in each area. Definitely the one with the largest amount of commuter rail is not surprising. MTA, Long Island Railroad, 1,263. Commuter buses, MTA, New York City Transit, 518 commuter buses. You can see this and go all throughout it. Buses, of course, MTA, but you're going to see a lot of that. So, of course, the ones that are going to be the most, you're going to see that, well, mainly most of the time, it's going to be New York. Heavy rail, 6,742, and that's the subway system. Okay, by far, largest subway mass transit system in the United States and one of the largest in the world. That is by far the biggest. And we'll get a little bit talking about Oakland over here a little bit real soon. The San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit with 2,646 heavy rail. But yeah, that's nice and all these big numbers. That's not the big thing that we're talking about. Let's talk about the average age of vehicle by agency. All right, now we're starting to get into it. Okay, see some, 12 years, 11 years. Let's see, 11 years, 10 years, mostly up there, 9, 7, 10, 11. Average age of buses, 8.2. Average age of bus rapid transit, 7.1. Average age of commuter buses, 9.2. The average age of commuter rail, 24.1. Now, remember what I said at the beginning, okay? Usually you want to be cycling these things out at 12 years when it comes to buses and 20 to 25 years when it comes to rail. A lot of this stuff has already been reached max age. In some places, it's even worse. Okay, you can see in some of these areas over here, Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District, Chesterton, Indiana, 30.2. Let's see what another one. Connecticut, Newington, Connecticut, 32.5. Metra is running, there we go, that's even worse. Metra is running 30-year-old trains on average. That's the average. Again, when it comes to average, that's the average. So there's some that are younger, and there's some that are older than 30 years. Okay? Connecticut Department of Transportation, 42. And we can talk about, let's see if we can find SEPTA over here, 34 years old. There you go. So we're running with trains that are beyond, on average, a lot of these, in some of the biggest areas. Here we are, Massachusetts Bay Transportation, MBTA, 25.4. New Jersey Transit, 26 years old. So we're running with trains that are already way past, on average. That's on average. That's not some trains. That's not, that's the average. So most of these trains already, more than 50%, are already past, way past their cycle year. We're running with like decrepit, Crypt-like transportation. And it's not just, again, it's not just, we'll go into it as much as we can over here. I want to have a hard stop for me at 30 minutes and then get to you guys. So that's why I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. But yeah, you keep going through this. If you want to see some funny ones, by the way, we can get into it real quick. Other rail, San Francisco Municipal Railway, guess what? Average age 126.8 years old. Hey, they've aged pretty well, you can tell. Of course, that's the street cars over in San Francisco, the old trolleys. Yeah, still running. Miami-Dade Transit, those are the people movers. They are now called the Metro Movers, 14.7. They just recently, and by recently, I mean like maybe 10 years ago, just replaced them. Charlotte Area Transit System, 20.5. Yeah. And a Pittsburgh Regional Transit, that's the vernacular. 154.5 years old. Hey, sometimes the older stuff built to last. Speaking of all the older stuff over there, I mean, hey, built when this was happening. There you go. I mean, look, if anything, it just goes to show you some of the older stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy that we're still running this sort of stuff, but I mean, it's kind of nuts. But yeah, you can go through this whole entire thing yourself. Streetcars, the average streetcar age is 46.5 years old. And again, a lot of that is being skewed again by the average because you have McKinney Avenue Transit Authority in Dallas, 96.8 years old. They probably are using historic cars as well. Memphis Area Transit Authority. So yeah, you could probably get shot there as well in Memphis. That's probably the worst city I've visited in the United States. That is not one I would like to go to again. Which is sad because they have that big Bass Pro Shop pyramid there. But yeah, this is basically the massive problem that we are facing in this country. The infrastructure has crumbled. It's not crumbled. It's already crumbled. We're living on the bones of an old country. And unfortunately, it's the bones in charge that are not allowing any sort of real change to happen quickly enough to really fix this. It's going to be even more of a calamity as time goes on. So, as we've talked about before, when it comes to the Northeast Corridor, when it comes to Amtrak and the ASCE high-speed rail service over there, we said this multiple times before. It can't run its highest speed most of the time, and it's stuck at double-digit average speeds because the Northeast Corridor is probably on average age 120 years old on most of its infrastructure. You have bridges there that predate the 20th century. We have tunnels that were built during the Civil War. By the way, that was more than 150 years ago. Okay, even more than that. Actually, well, no, yeah. Well, I mean, look, this is bad. This is real bad of what we're going through. Okay, now we had some good discussions and bad discussions about ASCE, and it's great. We finally have a good-looking train, a modern-looking train that is running the Northeast Corridor instead of the decrepit old ASCEs, which were good in the old right, and they did pretty good for their service life. Okay, over 25 years old. Speaking of old trains, and they finally got they finally got replaced, or they are in the process of being replaced now. Okay, some of those ASCEs, these older Gen 1 ASCEs, are going to be running for at least another good couple of years. Okay, I know Amtrak has their own timeline, but as we know with everything that happens up there, those ASCEs are going to be running for quite a while. But the Avelias are finally here. But yeah, this is the problem, is that, again, what we talked about before, next-gen ASCE can hit 160 miles an hour at upgraded track. My train only maxed out at 144, straightaway north of Princeton, New Jersey. The return trip on the same tracks, however, topped at 162, the speed at which France's TGV, or Train Grande Vitesse, debuted in 1981. Okay, that's 44-year-old speed records there. Progress in the Northeast Corridor, for short, has been like that since before Amtrak took over the route from the bankrupt Penn Central Transportation Company in 1971, taking the busiest passenger railroad in North America out of service for a complete rebuild to meet the standards of high-speed lines in other countries has been impossible. Not really, but it's possible to do. It's just that in this country, with its political system as it stands and with its leaders in charge, more to do with its leaders and less to do with the political system. Again, it's the people that make the politics. But there you go. It's as it stands right now, it is impossible. But even incremental upgrades have often been left waiting for a lack of funding. There you go. Look at this. You know when this bridge was built over here? When this was happening. Probably even older than that. If anybody knows in the comments, go ahead and put in the age of when that bridge was built. Yeah, it's pretty bad, and it's going to get worse as we go on. Okay, and Amtrak knows that that's the problem. Okay, Amtrak knows what passengers want, but can't deliver due to one major flaw. And most of that comes down to the biggest obstacle holding back Amtrak passenger rail expansion is going to be not just politics. Okay, what does this article say again? It's going to be equipment, shortages, everything. I mean, this article's not really giving the actual name, but yeah. Equipment falling apart, Amtrak's equipment shortages, yeah, that's a problem. But what's even worse is that it can't deliver on-time performance, mainly because of the freight railroads, now the Class 1s mainly, that have been continually to consolidate and to precision schedule railroading type of practices and consolidating into big monopolies and monsters. Just like what we're seeing now when it comes to the Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern Railway merger. And it's only going to get worse. Like we covered this ad nauseum with CSX in the last episode, talking about Ancora Holdings. And lo and behold, now Ancora Holdings investors, CSX can now search out willing partner for rail merger. After Ancora basically pushed out their CEO, and they blackmailed Norfolk Southern CEO because of his overreaction to what happened in East Palestine. So we're going to probably be seeing more East Palestines because, as we talked about before, Ancora Holdings has no care at all except for seeing the bottom line go up every single quarter. And if the green line doesn't go up every single quarter, they will get rid of the CEO no matter how. Norfolk Southern CEO, they basically blackmail. That's how much power these private equity firms and these investor firms have. They can basically blackmail CEOs until they get what they want. It's insane. It's practically insane that this is even allowed. Which, I mean, look, that in a sense, it is blackmail is illegal in a sense. Not in a sense, it is illegal, but they could basically do that because they hired a private investigator to go ahead and figure that out. But yeah, what they did to CSX and what they did to Joe Hendricks was awful. And this was actually a better guy. This was actually a good CEO for CSX. Okay, the employees loved him. He actually cared about the railroad. And again, he talked about. I got to stop saying again. That's definitely a filler word I got to get rid of. No mental note to myself. But Joe Hendricks in the last month said that this sort of way to run a company is not good because it's running CSX to the ground. And he said, look, you all want to go ahead and make money, but going ahead and making quarterly results at the expense of the railroad and at the expense of the company, at the expense of everybody's health, the expense of the equipment and everything is not good. Of course, Ancora and several different types of investors like that don't like hearing that, so they quickly got rid of it. Oh, he doesn't want to make us money. He cares about the people. He cares about having a company that has generational worth. No. We want our money. We want our money next quarter. Yeah. That's basically what they did. And yeah, and he's gone. And they'll keep doing that. And guess what? No consequences. Yeah, that was why I started with Megadeth's Chain of Consequences here, because we really are in need of a train of consequences. That was the perfect song for this spooky season. It gets a little worse. Ford CEO on his epiphany, after talking to his Gen Z factory workers, they were saying they, quote, had to have 3 jobs. Now, for Jim Farley's credit, he's kind of trying. I get it. You guys can go look into this article, but he went down finally with the peons. He went to go ahead and actually talk with them at the factory. And he said, this was what he said, quote, speaking with Bloomberg's David Weston, let's just go through it. Farley said he come to the realization during the United Auto Workers strike of 2023 when he was especially struck by stories from young factory employees. Now remember, back in the day, okay, you could work at Ford, basically at any level, starting at bottom level. If you just like came over from this country, whatever, you from Ireland, Germany, whatever, in the 1920s, okay, came over, and you'd be making enough money to go ahead and support a family. Okay? Pullman actually went ahead and funded for housing and everything for the companies and had a company town and whatnot. Well, again, I'm going over a lot of the fine details of that. But again, vast differences between what happened back then at the turn of the century in the Gilded Age and beyond, where companies actually did care for people. And look, they were protesting that. Now, again, I'm going over the small details and nuances about that. Get it? We'll dedicate a whole time for that. But it's a vast difference. It's a vast difference. This paternalistic company sort of culture completely went out the door. That noblesse oblige that at least tried to come in from our elites back then is completely gone when it comes to the robber barons of today. To the fact that people have to have 3 jobs when they're working at Ford. It says, quote, when I met with my entry factory workers, they were saying they had to have 3 jobs. He would then say they would go to places like Walmart and an Amazon fulfillment center. You know, I get 6 hours of sleep and I got 3 jobs. Yeah. Look, and in Ford fashion, they'll go ahead and say this sort of thing. You say, we need to change. We need to do better. We need to do this. This is modern Ford, unfortunately. And we know what happens when modern Ford says something. They never do. Oh, yeah, this is, you know what? X car is the best car. We need to be more like that. This is the way we need to start running things. Ford needs to do better. And when Ford usually says that, you know it's not going to happen. So yeah, Gen Z have to have 3 jobs in order to work with Ford. So Ford's not paying them enough. Yeah, Ford used to be for the common man. Yeah, but get away all the, fix or repair daily. I get it. It's funny. I had a Ford and it was always fix or repair daily. That Focus, that was an absolute, the transmission was a complete nightmare. It was fun. I did love the car, but I mean, it just, oh man. But anyway, but look, the car of the common people, the Mustang, right? Everybody loves the Mustang. Yeah, EcoBoost Mustang, starting at $32,320. Oh boy. Well, first of all, that's already expensive for a Mustang in this day and age. This is supposed to be the common man's sports car, but good luck trying to find any of that at that price. There we go. GT Premium Fastback, $53,000, $43,000 for an EcoBoost. Now, look, I love the Mustang. I think it's America's quintessential sports car by far. That's like if somebody says pick America's car, it's the Mustang. That's it. Yeah, it's iconic. It's been around, stayed more or less the same shape, and it's just been there. But I mean, come on, dude. I mean, look, I get Jim is trying to connect with the youth. He's out there now on podcasts, and he's on Jay Leno's Garage showing off the Ford GTD. I mean, forget who in Gen Z or what millennial is going to be able to afford a $300,000 Mustang. Let alone not any of these at $44,000, $59,000, $55,000, $42,000. It's a Mustang. These are like Corvette prices from 20 years ago. It's nuts. You're crazy. Yeah, this is what we're contending with in our country. Meanwhile, you've probably been seeing this all over the place on X. Chongqing East Railway Station, China. This is not just a work of art. It is a work of consistent years of human capital development and a singular obsession with excellence. China has arrived. China will grow stronger. We've seen this before a whole bunch. This is what China can go ahead and build in they can fork this out in like two years. And this again, while everybody's going gaga at Chongqing's latest high-speed train station, Chongqing East Station, we arrived on a slow train at Chongqing's older Chongqing North Station, and it's massive. By the way, that is the name of for those of you thinking that oh no, he's saying Chongqing because it's funny and it's Chinese. No, that's the actual name of the city, and it's a massive city. By the way, it's kind of crazy if you look at it. It's elevated all over the place. You could be walking along on what you think is a ground floor, and it's actually the 20th story of a whole giant building complex. It's crazy. But this is the old station, by the way. That's the old station. I mean, this would be a brand new station in America right now. This is what the LAXU terminal looked like. It kind of looks like that. The new Delta terminal that they spent billions of dollars on. But yeah, all the Chinese shills have been out in full force on this the whole entire summer. Someone please post this site, and you can tell it's a Chinese shill because he has his regular name and his Chinese given name. Someone please post it side by side with the major Amtrak station in the U.S. This is China's Chongqing East Railway Station. Yeah. This is on the train. I mean, look, we're trying here. The Moynihan train station was like the latest one that we've done, the biggest one so far. So let's give America credit where credit is due here. But I mean, how long did it take to build this? Apart from the fact that they destroyed the old Penn Station back in the 1960s, when it didn't need to be destroyed at all. Okay, so we have some ways of trying to get back. It's there. The bones are there. But my God, we have no fire anymore to really start building this. And this took forever to build. Forever and a day. They're throwing these out like crazy. And they're still doing more. Another Chinese mega rail station under construction. Although China's high-speed rail network is already the world's #1 by pace, of progress never stops. This super large railway hub in northwest China's Xi'an East Station is scheduled to be open in June 2026. Now, this is something that you don't see happening in California. A whole bunch of work. I mean, look, California, I mean, we want California high-speed rail to succeed, but you don't see videos like this coming out of California. They have maybe they show 5 people working and they're like banging a hammer like this. So We need Modelo time, man. Modelo, hey. Where's Modelo? I'm tired of working on railroad. They're not really. They're just. And meanwhile, look at this. This looks like something out of a video game, like an RTS game that you're just clicking and right clicking and saying build a unit, and they're just building a whole bunch of stuff. This is nuts. Look, if we could do the same thing in America, okay, we have so many young men that are in dire need of actually real paying jobs, because unfortunately, Ford ain't doing it. And he knew about this since 2023. He's had 2 years to do something about that. He's like, yeah, I had an epiphany. Okay, you're going to do something about it, Jim? No. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Okay, I'm going a little bit over time here. Let me just finish up real quick. Give me 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. All right. Okay, so let's get into the bad news about Brightline. It's not all bright and sunny when it comes to Brightline right now. Cost nearly triples to build train between LA and Vegas. And why is Brightline saying that? And they're blaming tariffs. And I get it. Tariffs have been the thing that every company now has been blaming for cost rises. Oh, we have to build up. And this is not just Brightline, by the way. This is like a whole bunch of companies. We've had to increase the price of our food because of tariffs. Oh, we've had to increase the prices of everything because, well, now we're getting chips from overseas and we have to get our steel from overseas. Well, gee, whose bright idea was that to go ahead and give? Oh wait, it was Jim's cohorts. Although Jim's cohorts were older when they did that. But yeah, who sold out our country to go ahead and build everything outside of it? All the steel and everything like that. Well, we have U.S. Steel and we have all these other companies. Okay, really, we have maybe 1 or 2 plants. There should be plants dotting the country. What happened to Gary? What happened to Gary? Oh man, but yeah, enjoy our $53,000 Mustangs and our 120-year-old railroads. Oh man. Look, let's be real clear, okay? If it wasn't forget whatever communism, capitalism, whatever. If it wasn't for the traitors, the damn traitors in our company, in our country, the damn traitors in our country that sold out our manufacturing base, okay? If it wasn't for that, China would still be beating swallows, okay? They'd still be there beating up swallows and killing, trying to melt out their farm equipment to build steel, okay? I'm being, exaggerating. I'm completely exaggerating that, but it's true. Okay, they would not be. China did not get this power overnight. China did not build this power. China was given this power that we had. All that fire that we had was sold out. Was sold out by the people like we have here at Encore. Okay, they're continuing to do it now. It's not bad enough that we're living in a dead cadaver of a country, a crypt of a country, but we have a ruling class that continues to go ahead and suck everything dry as much as possible. And that's wrong. They're all on board with you. We will own nothing and be happy. We will have no birthright. We will have no nation. We will have no ownership of anything. Because the green line must go up the next quarter. And if it means selling out to China, they will gladly do that. And that's why China has 300-mile-an-hour electric cars that can jump up and down and dance. Enjoy your $53,000 Mustang, the common man's car. But let's get back to Brightline over here. Let's get a little bit bright and cheery, which is not so bright and cheery news. So yeah, the cost is tripled because they're blaming it on tariffs. Okay, I get it. And look, everything has gotten more expensive since their initial cost of $16 billion. I get it. Eggs used to be 86 cents a dozen. Now they're at flipping $3 or $4, or they were at $4, and now they've gone down to $2.67 or something like that. The last time I saw them, it's crazy. By the way, if you really want something, that's gonna go up while our money turns to crap. Go ahead and buy silver. Okay, go buy your Tyler Durbins here. get your Tyler Durden on. Okay, we need some sort of, I don't know, Project Mayhem or something like that at this point. I don't know. Who cares? Look, only thing we can do right now as we watch this calamity go on is at least do the best for ourselves, do the best for our family, keep things going. Okay? No, it's not shilling for silver. Where's my soundboard? Where is it? You gotta put a search function in the soundboard. I just gotta get my own soundboard. There we go. All right. Get your. Don't forget. Yeah, we're not shilling for silver, but I mean, it would be nice if you had some. All right. There was an excuse to use the soundboard, but yeah, Brightline really needs some help. And look, the government, the federal government, Trump's administration, and we will say that. And this was said in this article over here. Where is it? The Trump administration has got funding for federal other high-speed rail projects in California and other parts of the country. But they are, unlike other high-speed rail projects in the West, the plan to build is an outlier in the eyes of the Trump administration. So look, maybe they'll go ahead and give them the loan that they're now asking for, the $6 billion loan that they're asking for. Maybe they can give them whatever money that was in the grant, the $4 billion that was in the grant that they took away from California. Maybe they can give them that. I don't care. At this point, build the damn thing. I don't care. At this point, the money means nothing anymore. The debt is, we're done. We're not fixing the federal debt in this country. That has been long and done. Okay? And for the libertarians out there, sorry, read Hop, okay? Read that. That's Herman Hop. And that's the end. That's the end of the station for your libertarian journey. Okay? That's the train has come to the station when you read the democracy that God had failed. Okay? Hans Herman Hop. That's the end. There you go. Libertarian journey is over. Look, we need something because we cannot compete with this. Okay? Forget this. Forget this. We cannot compete when companies that bend the rules all the time to themselves, like Ancora or like whatever else, or private BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. This is incomprehensibly bad. It's going to get worse because nobody's going to do anything about this because they're all bought and paid for by this. Okay? Crony capitalism is an absolute nightmare because crony capitalism is just basically communism in a sense. By the way, guess who funded the Bolsheviks in 1918? Well, you can go on to that, but that was Wall Street, and that's all I'll say because you can go into a deep, dark rabbit hole about that. But capitalism seems to love communism, as you can tell. So yeah, again, the same two sides of the bad coin. What coins? Oh, there goes my soul. All right. Anyway, look, capital should be used for ownership. Okay, and the problem is that when ownership is concentrated into either a government or to BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, it's not good. This is not good. And then we're stuck with $53,000 Mustangs and working 3 jobs when this used to take only 1 job. And we're working on a country with 120-year-old infrastructure. Okay, and we can't even get this built. Look, I would give them the $6 billion federal loan. I don't care at this point, on the condition that they finish before the Olympics. Get it done. I don't care at this point. Just get it done. And they're doing pretty all right. They're not losing as much money. And the thing is with Brightline, the only good thing with Brightline and why this hasn't been taxed by an Ancora-like entity is because they're privately owned, and they're owned by Fortress Investments, which is owned by Wes Edens, who actually believes in this. Okay, he's a boomer, a good boomer that actually believes in this project. Okay, it's something for him to believe in. But we don't have a whole bunch of Wes Edens. Unfortunately, most of Wes Edens' cohorts are in people like the Finks and everybody else in BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and all these other type of people. Okay, that's the problem we have. Okay. Now, Brightline is trying to improve. They're adding service. They're adding capacity. They're doing something. It's going to take a while. This is not a project that is going to make the green line go up within a quarter. This is going to take time. This is going to take at least 10 years. It took the Shinkansen in 1964 by the Japanese. The first time around, it took them 10 years to amortize their debt. Okay? It can be done. You need a vision, and you need leadership that believes in that vision all around. The Japanese government believed in it. The Japanese railroad believed in it. The engineers believed in it. Yeah, you had a whole lot of pushback, but the leadership and the government said, yeah, go ahead and do it. We'll get it done. And look, the Japanese National Railroad Company split apart and privatized, and then they expanded rapidly, making bullet trains every so often. Now, wait, look at this. Where is it? Over here, if I can find it. Oh, that's not happening. Okay, let's just skip to this. By the way, speaking of BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit in Oakland, the second largest amount of heavy rail vehicles. Again, this is what we have to live with. Okay, again, remember arena's a root skill. I'm not going to let that go. Okay, I'm not going to let go what happened to East Palestine. I'm not going to let go what happened to North Carolina, the Appalachians after Hurricane Helene. I'm not letting any of those go. These are all indicative, just watershed moments of what is going on in our country, and it needs to change. Look at this. BART's next generation gates cut fare evasion by more than half. It's a flippin' prison. Look at this. This is entering a prison. Oh, you gotta jump over it? Look at this. They have bars and this is ridiculous. This is mainly for birds, but it's also for people too. It serves a dual purpose. This is just nuts. Okay? And I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna jump over there. They're gonna lay a towel on and jump over it anyway. I'm pretty sure that will happen. Hey, 87% of stations now or buses have cameras, so we're going to see more live leak images, right? And all right, last thing, and then last couple articles after here. Really, the biggest problem right now that we're facing is the electrical grid system. That's going to get worse. Okay, so in Indiana, real quick. Yes, one data center was cut down in one county. Mainly because the citizens there absolutely chipped out, and rightfully so, to the point that they got a little violent. They got a little squirrely in there in the commissioning meetings. And Google pulled out. But unfortunately, in Morgan County, Indiana, that's not happening. I just fell to my knees. Morgan County data center project advances to county commissioners for vote despite major community pushback. They didn't push back enough. And guess what's going to happen, okay? The electric grid is going to get worse. We know how bad it is when it comes to our rail systems, okay? Now, guess what the average age of our electric grid is, okay? 70% of the U.S. lines and transformers have been in service for more than 25 years, a legacy of the mid-20th century grid build-out. That's all I'm going to go into from there. It's going to get worse because of these AI data centers, okay? We could be having nuclear power all over the place. We could be having brand spanking new electric lines underneath the ground. And for Texas, having them underneath the ground where they don't freeze and for whatever freak weather that you're having down there. I don't know what the hell is going on in Texas. But you can have that. We can have electric high-speed rail. But guess what? In the last 20 years, and this is from memory, China, again, we're going to talk about China. They built 23 nuclear reactors within the last 25 years. Guess how many the United States built? If you said 0, good guess. It's actually 2. We built 2. They built 10 times the amount. And you're not hearing about the nuclear centers falling apart over there. America's looming electricity crisis is Trump's Achilles heel. That's all we need to say. That's all we need to go into that. By the way, world's tallest bridge opens to traffic, cutting travel time from 2 hours down to 2 minutes. You can guess where that was built. You don't have to say it again. It is in China. It's in China, province of Wuzhou. I'm sick of seeing this. Look, this is not out of envy. I don't care. Congratulations to China. Great job. Okay? Again, they wouldn't have been able to do this if it weren't for our own leaders selling our country out. Okay? It's just crazy. Okay? And let's not just talk about China. Here we are. Let's talk about Japan real quick. All right? Let's chill for the better for my other favorite country. Japan's new high-speed maglev trains that have non-reclining seats. Now, you may think that's a bad thing, okay? But this train runs at nearly 300 miles an hour, okay? 40-minute travel time on the new construction linear Chuo Shinkansen line to link Tokyo's Shinagawa Station and Nagoya Station in central Japan. That is nuts. Okay? Nearly 300 miles an hour. And it's so fast that you don't even have to recline. You won't have time to recline. This is what other countries are doing. Okay? Forget it. You don't have to look at Asia. You can look at Spain. Okay? I would like something like this for the United States. How Spain became the arena for high-speed rail competition. We talked about this before. Yeah, we can have capitalism that works for us if we can actually not have traitors. It's traitorous. That's what we're dealing with. All right, I'm done talking. You guys can now come on in. Let's try to keep it to 15 minutes because if I don't, my wife's going to come in with the baseball bat soon enough to go watch the Brewers. So there you go. Let's go ahead and let's have fun over here. All right, everybody, just come on board. Here we are.
Dimitri, hey, before we do, we got a meme.
All right, we got a meme.
And it won't cause cancer if you show it off.
All right, fine.
Oh yeah.
Roads. I got some issues with American.
Oh no.
Since we've been talking about safety and the way before Irina Zarutska, I think we talked about this before here.
All right, hold on. Somebody's
it's also about bad drivers.
Somebody's got something in the background. Make sure you mute yourself if you have anything, or mute if you're watching the stream. Thank you. But make sure you mute that too while you're speaking. Go ahead.
Yeah. Dimitri, read the meme. Read the meme I sent.
All right, David. I shall read the meme. Mandated short bus fare.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh man, is this what Via Rail is getting?
No, it added. Someone made an edit, and I just said, you know what? They're missing one zane, and I added on to it.
Oh man. All righty. Okay. Guys, let's talk. Welcome to our Crypt country. Are you guys enjoying it? Are you enjoying the Crypt country we've been promised as our birthright?
Well, the Crypt country calamity causes cowards. How did I continue it on?
What? If I could say this, I will say this again. Bienvenidos a la República Dominicana, where everything is broken. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
everything is broken.
We might as well look. America, I forget who put this because I need to find out, but it was hilarious. America is a somewhat functioning Latin American country. It's true. It's true. We're becoming like Cuba at this point. We're gonna have 50-year-old cars. We're gonna start taking out the engines and swapping them out because they're falling apart. That's where we're at in this country. We're at almost Cuba levels of infrastructure.
Once we get to the part where. Well, once we're taking out the engines out of the cars and having them pulled by animals, then we feel pure Cuba.
The only thing I see for America
We'll be more like before the 20th century. We'll be like a post-apocalyptic world where engines just stopped working.
Yeah, kind of like Fallout. Okay, anyways, the only thing that America is missing is the blackouts and like 24-hour blackouts. That's the only thing they're missing.
That will be coming next. That will be coming next.
Well, the moment that happens, people will be rioting.
Just go to California.
Oh man, California's already having blackouts.
I think it's blacked out. Make America, California great. Make America, California.
We don't need.
No.
We don't need Cuba. We have Cuba in our. We have our own Cuba in our backyard.
Hey, Mom, can we have Cuba? We have Cuba at home.
We have Cuba at home.
Can I speak? Can
All
I
right.
speak?
Okay. Let David speak to the people. Go ahead.
I just sent the first article of a short line railroad, or technically not a short line, but a regional railroad up in Pennsylvania. It got them good news.
All right, some good news. David, the bearer of good news, so it's not all spooky this month. Reading and Northern Railroads Reading and Northern offers $10 million for Lucerne County, Pennsylvania rail lines. Okay, CEO promises to launch excursion operations. Nice. That's very nice. The CEO who wants to have fun. That's nice. Subject of current legal fight. Okay, so yeah, that'll be nice. The Reading Northern Railroad has made a $10 million offer, purchased about 60 miles of rail lines owned by the Soren County Redevelopment Authority, property currently the subject of litigation between the authority and the county. Now, I'm assuming, David, that these lines are not being run by anybody yet, which is why they want to buy them and be able to throw in this excursion train. Am I correct about that?
Yep, and not just that, but to bring back regional passenger service to Reading.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, really?
That's the other reason why I have a friend who worked for the Reading Northern Railway, and he said that they've been talking with Amtrak for the last couple of years to get Amtrak running on their line, and also if they
you
can.
have friends everywhere, don't you?
All right, so hold on. Let me just go ahead and say this. Okay, saying the RNN is prepared to bring its passenger excursion operations to Wilkes-Barre, but only if we're able to reach an agreement to purchase the line. Mueller's letter says the trackage in question is currently in physical condition allowing passenger service, and the RNN has estimated it will cost at least $2 million for necessary improvements on the track connection to the railroad's Pittston Yard. We cannot do that work while somebody else owns the underlying property. Okay, so yeah, it seems like they do want to bring some form of passenger rail service over to connect over from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, which is it's not a small place. That is a pretty populated place in Pennsylvania. So yeah, that'll be cool. Scranton to Wilkes-Barre. Yeah. And look, yeah, this to your point, David, and look, this is the type of thing we're seeing. We're seeing most of the development, most of the progress moving forward, most innovation coming from these smaller companies. Okay? You're not seeing class ones trying to bring back passenger rail service or excursion lines. You're seeing it from the class twos. You're seeing Brightline coming out of FBC. Okay, you're seeing this sort of stuff coming from these smaller railroads. Okay, so yeah, this is what we're talking about. We want business to open up in the United States. We want this sort of stuff, and we want to bring progress, but we can't when we're stuck with these freaks that just want green line go up next quarter. If not, I get rid of CEO. Give me green line.
Here's the thing, Demetrius. They're investing like wild over here in the Dominican Republic. They're actually investing like crazy.
And Dimitri,
look, I'm not going to be surprised if they keep going. America's going to be worse than the Dominican Republic in regards to infrastructure. Look, the American Civil Society of Engineers has rated America a consistent D since 1998. We have been rated failing since the 90s. Okay, we're not, and it's not getting better. It's getting a little better here and there. It's getting a little better here and there. There's a little bit of a bright spot here, but not fast enough. Not at freaking China Command and Conquer levels over here. They're freaking building like an RTS game.
But just remember one thing: you can renovate the trains, so you can get another 20, 25 years out of them. But last time I checked, with SEPTA's having their trains having open fires instead of having nice electric heaters,
you know what?
I'm pretty sure they're not going to have them as the heritage lines.
My nuts roasting on a SEPTA fire. Too early for that, right?
You know what? They were like the penguins when they were flying the plane. Sir, we have a problem. The engine is no longer on fire.
Look at the
oh man!
Look at the comic meme I said. Look at the comic meme I just said.
All right.
Yeah, it's borderline on whether it'll nuke the channel, but okay.
Okay.
I gotta whine about traffic now. People, if you see a sign that says road closed ahead, that means you can't go there. You can't go that way.
Whoa.
Also,
You're asking people to have more than a room temperature IQ.
Yes, but it's annoying.
Just on Facebook Marketplace.
You mean if there's a train coming through, I'm not supposed to cross through the train?
Well, the train's got to wait, right?
Well, we got to tell that to people in South Florida. All right, wait, hold on.
Crazy.
Here's a funny one. Blanket busway skid reductions after death. Speaking of people who keep crossing, if you think what's going on in the United States is bad, okay, I know we have it bad over here. The UK, oh man. So the Bright Line of the UK, this bus line, has been reduced to 30 miles an hour, and it's on a concrete rail. I mean, this thing looks absolutely.
It's a bus rapid transit.
It's
ridiculous.
This is a silly. This is what this thing looks like. This is
defeating the purpose of rapid bus train-like tracks.
I will say.
Wait, hold on. So in British speak, 3 pensioners have been hit by the bus. Not, they've been bust. They've been isekai over into Japanese manga, and thus the bus will be reduced by 20 miles an hour at crossing point. By the way, this was 3 people that got hit by a bus. A bus, by the way, they've been isekai'd by a bus. 81, 50, 52. Okay, we get it. They're pensioners, but this is 2015, 2018, 2021. So three incidents within 10 years, and we have to reduce the speed? Thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, that Bright Line is not in England. Holy moly, this is awful.
When I first heard about buses on its own dedicated line, I was like, that's pretty genius. But now it's like, okay, that's just the cheap version of rail transit.
What the hell? As far as safety, for those in the Canadian audiences, before Irina Zarutska, there was Timothy McLean.
All right, Darius, tell us a story about Timothy McLean. I know you've been trying to say this the last three streams. Go ahead, make it quick. Make it so number one.
I found it on Facebook Marketplace here in South Carolina, and
Hold
I took
on.
a screenshot of it.
We'll look at that, David. While we're pulling that up, Darius, go ahead and talk about Timothy McLean. You've been wanting to talk about the story. All right, I guess we're not learning about Timothy McLean this stream. David, what is this?
All right, this is the last remaining mixed-use development building in a small town here in South Carolina that is for sale.
Oh no!
What?
And it's the only remaining building from a bygone era that actually is way better than what we have now. Look at it.
What are they asking?
About 200K.
You know what this needs? David, this needs a strip ball. We need to tear it down. We need to build a strip ball. We need a gecko. We need a massage parlor. We need to turn this into a strip ball. This would be fantastic, beautiful.
You know what's gonna happen, dude? You know what's gonna happen to that place? It's gonna become a strip club.
That's what I just said. They'll turn it into a strip club where the cops get called every Friday evening because of some sort of shenanigans. Yeah, wonderful. That's great. Real great. They're gonna tear it down for some rinky dinky. All right. Are we finally gonna learn the story, the ballad of Timothy McLean, Darius?
Yep.
Okay.
Before Irina Zarutska, there was a real horror story.
But by the way, I was
transit
today and look at the photo.
Okay, David, let him speak. Go ahead. You have the floor.
How many of you live in Canada?
Thank God none of us live in Canada. Okay, thank God we don't live in Canada. Go ahead. All right. You got to tell us a story, man. You got 2 minutes. Tell us a story.
Okay, I have 3 voices. All right. So Timothy McLean was basically a carnival worker, like Irina Zarutska, was just sitting with his headphones after a long day at the carnival before, and after a bus stop, coming on his way home, a Chinese Canadian, who was diagnosed with schizophrenia, had his weird glances on him.
All right, here,
behind him.
Darius. Okay, here. Let me help you out, man. Let me help you out. Okay, so inside the horrific murder of Tim McLean aboard a Greyhound bus in 2008. Yeah, and this is again, this is what's happening all over the Anglosphere. On July 30th, 2008, Tim McLean was butchered and cannibalized by Vincent Lee. An unprovoked attack that remains shocking to this day. Okay, so this guy was, and this is a little bit more gruesome than what happened to Irene. Again, we're not putting down what happened to her, but this is nuts. Oh no, the poor guy. Okay, so on July 30th, 2008, McLean was a carnival worker boarded a Greyhound Canada bus at Edmonton. 22-year-old was traveling home to Winnipeg, where his pregnant girlfriend was waiting. Oh, that makes it even worse.
Every time I think of going on public transit, I kind of think of getting shot on a bus.
Yeah, and look what happened to Irina. Again, it's unconfirmed at this point, but she was. There's reports that she was pregnant at the time that she was brutally murdered by that absolute disgusting animal. That should. Here, by the way, he's still not in jail. By the way, but he's not sitting in a jail cell. By the way, he's not hanging by a rope. Again, we need some consequences in this country. We need a train of consequences. That's
well, we need to build a new jail cell and then put all of our bad people in one centralized underground maximum security prison that is so secure they can't break out, like the modern day Alcatraz. And then we can fill all of our other prisons up with these other people.
Yeah, look, we should be having, and we've been having a problem. This has been happening all over the country, where prisons are getting filled up really quickly right now. That you're going to have people that low-level offenses. Okay, they're not violent murderers or anything like that. They did something. They did a bad. Okay, they did a bad, an oopsie, maybe a little bit more than an oopsie, but they're in prison with the absolute psychos, the absolute monsters. Okay, and that's not good for a normal person's psyche.
Let the absolute monsters go like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, we arrested you, put you in jail for like a day. Enjoy and go. Welcome back to the real world, buddy.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and does the same thing again.
Let's give it till 7:05, guys. Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap this up. But yeah, no, it's right. Look what's going on in CCOT down over in El Salvador. They did prison right. They put all the absolute freaks, the monsters, into one big giant cage where they can go ahead and be freaks and monsters with themselves. And the people who do have some sort of rehabilitation and they can be rehabbed back into society, they're giving them jobs, they're giving them training, they're keeping them busy, and that's a good thing.
We gotta do it German style. There's a prison, I think it's in Germany. Where, hang on, it's in Germany, but it's like an apartment, basically, where they're on their own. They get to act like they're in the real world, but they're still in a prison. They aren't locked behind bars. It's just like their own private apartment building, fully furnished, and high tech. It's high tech prison. Like, they still have cameras and stuff, but there's no metal bars.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Look, if Jimmy, who had his, he's driving a little drunk. He smashed into a tree again. Okay, he needs to really sober up and let him stay there for a couple of months until he figures it out. No. Maybe he shouldn't be drinking. Maybe he shouldn't be driving after 5 Bud Lights. That's a good idea.
Like, there's like straight up murderers in there. And these people who know that they did wrong act like actual people, and it helps them. It helps them actually when they go back to society.
What's that Swedish prison where they get like a PlayStation or something like that? I don't know if that's still.
Yeah, Scandinavia is much more lenient when it comes to their prisoners, but that's only works with a society that is both high trust and with prisoners are willing to seek redemption.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, absolutely true.
If they're not willing to seek redemption, there's nothing you can do.
All right. Real quick.
A lot of these prisoners know what they did wrong, and they admitted what they did was wrong.
All right. Real quick, let's go through the comments over here. Board Caltrain and San Joaquin's on new trains, David Jackson. Yeah, they have new trains, but it doesn't, again, average age. It doesn't state from the fact that they've been they're still running on 70-year-old trains in some of these places. Let's see. Hey, David got to pay attention to the of the bricks in the age of the bridge. Yeah. Hi, American Rail Club. Yeah, hello, everybody in the YouTube chat. We should say A2R Gaming, Heartless Fiend, David Jackson, Adam Busier. All right. Mark Roman. All righty. 90s Mustang was better than anything that is made today. Yeah, those the Fox body Mustangs are pretty sick. The UH ones are pretty cool, too.
Porsches, buddy. The Porsches are good.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, like the Porsche that was in that one movie that got totally destroyed.
Let me see. Brian Rock, real fan. How is slowing the buses down going to do any good? We're talking about the British bus. Yeah, it's not going to do itself any good. The UK is. Look, our country's not doing well, but at least we have a bit of a chance. Okay, even if things go to absolute crap, this country at least has resilience. The UK is completely cooked. Unfortunately, they don't have the same resilience as Americans. Unfortunately, it's that their whole entire birthright has been completely sold out. The empire has died. Queen Elizabeth sold them all out. It's done. Sorry, guys. I feel sorry for you guys across the pond. I wish you guys can do something. Look, I hate Cromwell, but you kind of need some sort of Cromwellian figure at this point to fix your country. That's how bad you guys are right now. That's how bad it is.
Oh, God.
Well, if Cromwell Part 2 comes, I'm just going to sit over in the corner.
Is there reverberation
stop? Please. Keep Big Brother out of politics. Once and for all, okay? Keep Big Brother
out. Since Queen Elizabeth died, it's never been the
same. Anybody else notice that our speeches haven't reverberated and the issue's been kind of fixed for now?
Yes, thank goodness.
Yes. Thank goodness.
Yeah, but there's an easy way of solving all of the issues that are plaguing it, and we just have to go back to the Cold War time where we have an issue. What do? We write a blank check and we hand it over to Lockheed, who gives it to someone like Lawrence Kelly Johnson, and they finish building it out in like 6 months. We just need that to happen again.
Yeah, we need to. I guess look, if we need to do something really quickly, I guess we can hire the Chinese over here.
Lockheed Martin to make some crazy, powerful, stupid shit weapon that does that is better than the previous one, and make another F-15 Eagle. Actually, that's what they're gonna make, another F-15 Eagle.
Well, here's the unfortunate thing. I know, guys. I know we're going over time, but this is something that we'll talk about next stream. This is also a national security issue too, okay? Because Ancora and all these other companies are not just doing this to CSX, okay? They've been doing this to Boeing. They've been doing this to Lockheed Martin. They've been doing this for the entire military-industrial complex since the end of the Cold War, okay? This is why we're still running. I mean, look, thank goodness the AR-15 and the M16, okay? Bless Eugene Stoner for making one of the greatest weapons of all time, and that thing is still running along. But the United States, just in its weaponry in total, okay, our fleet is dwindling. Our fleet is rusting away. And we're not going to be able to compete with anybody. Forget China or whatever, okay? We don't even have defenses for hypersonic missiles because why? All these Ancora type of companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, have done the same thing to them. There's no innovation coming out of these big military-industrial complex companies like they used to do anymore. They used to crap out. Hold on. Stop. They used to crap out stuff like.
You don't know that.
Hold on.
See, don't forget, there's still a lot of illegal weapons that they won't.
Look, we know that, but
classified weapons they won't tell us about.
But they're not illegal. Okay, all those weapons are probably we're talking about 30, 40-year-old technology. I mean, look, stuff like the SR-71 Blackbird, that was basically farted out by a couple of crazy, absolute geniuses within a couple of years. Okay, we can't even compare now. China's flying, I guess, Gen 6. It's probably just for show, but they're flying Gen 6 fighter jets and all that sort of stuff. Iran has hypersonic missiles that we can't figure out any sort of defenses for. Boeing can't figure it out. Lockheed Martin can't figure it out. This is a national security issue. These companies, these private equity firms, are a national security problem, not more than a problem. They're traitors. We haven't been able to innovate because we have traitors in our country.
They're
Listen,
traders.
It's not just that. And drones are going to be drones are a big player. Are going to be a big player. Destroy like $1 million tank for just $400 drones.
Yeah, there goes your Abrams.
My friends.
Any of the Abrams, which we haven't been able to really send to Ukraine, they're just going
The ARC, you are forgetting one thing. We have a bottomless defense budget. Those countries are just copying what we already have.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, dumb trucker. Okay, yeah, these countries are copying what they already have, but China, basically, they borrowed from whatever Germany had and Japan when it came to their high-speed rail. 20 years later, they're making their own way faster. Okay, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Wait, here's the thing. It doesn't help when we take 600,000 new Chinese students into American universities, where then they'll go ahead and work for Lockheed Martin, or they'll go ahead and work for Boeing, or they'll intern at let's say Northrop Grumman. And guess what? Oops, they went back to China. Oops, they took all the files. Oops, they sent them off to a Chinese cloud server. How many times has that happened? Okay, because I've been in companies where that exactly has happened. And that's a problem. That again, it's the traders within our own country. China's playing by the rules. And guess what? They're like, we don't care. Who cares? And they're going to do what they please. And
it also connects to our civilian infrastructure as well.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, that's we're over time. We're over time. The wife is going to hit me with the baseball bat anytime soon because the Brewers better win against the Cubs. Sorry, Cubbies fans, you need to go down. It's the Brewers' time. It's time for them to win this time. All right, you guys. All righty, we come at the station. We're gonna end it here, folks. All righty, guys. Let's have next stream is going to be close by, so we'll continue this conversation on. But yeah, we gotta keep talking about this, okay? And that will be the primer for next time. We will see you all next time, folks. Thank you all for joining on board. It's sports ball time, okay? Which we need to have priorities straight. Look, I love sports ball. We need to fix this country first. But anyway, guys, we will see you all next time. Take care. God bless and Godspeed. Thursday night football. Thursday night. Oh man, here we go again.
Take care.
Peace out.